Minister, good morning.
Good morning,
of course, a week is not
invitation.
enough time to highlight the things that are plaguing our children and just the troubles. Now, you heard from children very quickly. Just give us an idea of what were their concerns. What have they expressed to you as their immediate, most urgent needs?
The children put together, traveling throughout the country to collect the concerns. That's why it's a manifesto, because it's from all the provinces. It's the usual things that we all adults know about. It's the abuse against children. Is the not listening to the children, is the environment in which they live in, both at home in some homes as well as in the schools. It's the poor transportation. It's a whole bucket of things that, by the way, as adults, we know those things very well. So there's nothing new that the children are telling us. It's just that they're getting a voice, and we're opening up the opportunity for them to be able to speak to us.
So I have to wonder, and I can't wrap my mind around where you will actually begin. I mean, we moved decades ago from protecting children from strangers, and in the years later protecting children from their own families, from their own parents. Now you have to protect children from children, because the story coming out yesterday about that stabbing at Forest High. Where do you even begin? How do you plan to address
Well, look, the issue for me here is about taking a step back and accepting the fact that we've got a huge challenge, number one. Number two, it's also appreciating that South Africa has adopted all the relevant protection in terms of the laws and regulations and everything. We've got it all right from that point of view. It's in the implementation where I think the biggest challenge lies. And the implementation also is not a one-way implementation. When you have laws that you have passed, when you have conventions that you've adopted, global and international conventions, is about just making it simple. What needs to be the first things that we need to do, starting with appreciating of the environment. Now, all these issues cannot depend on the Department of Social Development alone. It's about pulling all the relevant departments, whether it's the police, whether it's health, whether it's education, and ensure that you have a coordinated approach to this. But most importantly, it's about pulling civil society. It's about claiming back the streets, claiming back the homes for the children. So if we can just take a step back and say, okay, we've got it all right from what we have legally and otherwise, but legally on its own without action. For me, when I look at it, it's about how do we empower communities, how do we empower families to really appreciate that we've got a very serious problem.
And like you say, the adults know these things. We know what needs to be done for our children. Very few of us actually go out and do it. So it seems like you have to put the power in the hands of the children. And how do you do that? Because we're looking at children who are too young to even know about the law, but need to know how to protect themselves from the big bad people out there. How do you plan to take this message to children so that they know what they need to do for themselves?
Well, the good thing is that I've realized that we're not the only ones who are carrying it. The fact that I've already been out in a few places where the children themselves are coming together. For me, that's a step forward. I watched yesterday on TV in somewhere in the Northern Cape, where children were being taught how to protect themselves. It's a pity that as young as they are, they have to be taught karate and all that to protect themselves, but that's the reality of the situation. Look, my view is that this is a societal problem that we all need to accept and take responsibility of. We've got a lot of NGOs out there that are doing a whole lot of good work. We need to pull both civil society. My view is that we've got to go street by street, house by house.
And is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Street by street, but have the right message. Because we need to say to government in general, can we create a conducive environment for parents, for children, for everybody? Because all these ills that we see today, they didn't just crop up from somewhere. These ills are coming out of frustrations, coming out of environments that are not very conducive.
Now, you mentioned earlier about the manifesto, Minister, and what you heard from children. And like you say, as adults, we know what needs to be done. Basic things like transport to school, which shouldn't be an issue in 2019. We should be able to get our children to school safely. safely, teachers who are predators as well. So it's a lot for us to wade through and to be able to actually sort out. Social development in the past couple of years has not had the best reputation for doing what needs to be done. These are basic things that needs to be done. Can you guarantee or give any kind of guarantee at the moment that those basic things will be looked at, and we'll never have to worry about things like getting our child safely to school, or that they're not being touched by their teacher in class?
But that's exactly why I'm saying it cannot be a responsibility of social development alone, because the transportation of children to school has got something to do with education. The health of the children has got something to do with health. My first and most important focus is going to be, how do I bring a coordinated approach from a government point of view to implement what's already there? I went through the documents. God knows, it's all there. It's beautiful, it's well written, it tells you exactly what needs to be done. What we need to do is to get out there and just do it, and do it right, and do it fast. But also for me, it's about empowering communities. You can't have a situation where you think, no, social development will come. This whole thing is about communities. If we can get back to empowering our communities to appreciate this problem, to report about it, and law enforcement must also act when the opportunity, when such crimes are committed. It's about people talking. It's about children blowing the whistle, but it's also about adults blowing the whistle when they see it. The problem is that they keep quiet. Neighbors don't see it, but they don't do anything about it.
They don't want to get involved.
They don't want to get involved. So we've got to get back to basics as being communities. We've got to get back to being human beings that appreciate each other and support each other.
Now, I'd like your take. I had a very interesting discussion coming in to work this morning. It was on radio, and it was just following up on the school stabbing as well. And there was somebody who said, it's fine to have a democracy, but have we given children too many rights? And specifically talking about how children treat other children. We're talking about bullying, we're talking about children killing themselves as young as 9, you know the stories, when they're being bullied and being stabbed, killed outside the school gates. Have we given children too many rights? There's an argument for, should we bring corporal punishment back? Just your thoughts on those things.
No, absolutely not. The rights that children have to be protected, but there's got to be responsibility on the other hand. So you have the rights come with responsibility. How do we teach the children that yes, you have these rights, but you've also got responsibilities? Law enforcement, in my view, because if you look at the stabbing in the school, why is it that there's a knife in the school? Why is it that there's an instrument in the school that has any potential of harming anybody? So it means parents, in particular parents, those that say, no, our children are not going to be searched when they go to school, we've got to go back and say that we have failed somewhere as parents also in ensuring that your own child must be growing in an environment where the child appreciates that you can't harm the next human being. So it means we have to be appreciative of that, but law enforcement also has to be very strong, and your school governing bodies also must take responsibilities. Everybody must take responsibility. My view is that let's empower communities, then we're going to be able
to take a step. Those villages that raise our children.
Everybody, yes, okay, well, absolutely.
I wish you all the luck. It's quite a task ahead of you. Thank you very much.
But I've got the ribbons for you too, and I've got the children's manifesto for you too to read.
Best that we are armed with this. Thank you. Thanks for bringing this through.
Thank you.
And I will share these ribbons with my partner.
Thank you.
He loves these green. Thank you very much. That's
Thank you.
Minister of Social Development, that's Lindiwe Zulu, joining us. She's talking about her plans to protect our children from now on.